Hey everyone, today we are doing the preterite tense part 2 because we had so much fun with part 1. So part 2 of the preterite tense is going to be looking at verbs that are not regular that we need to pay a little extra attention to. First we'll talk about stem changing verbs in the preterite tense. A quick reminder of stem changing verbs in the present tense. AR, ER, and IR verbs can stem change. And in the preterite tense, we're going to only change the verbs that end in IR. So if its stem changes in the present tense and the verb ends in IR, unless it's irregular, we're going to have a stem change. For example, we have pedir, morir, dormir, preferir, things of that nature. Now, in the present tense, we have the boot. The stem change occurs in the boot, so all of the forms except nosotros and vosotros. In the preterite tense, the verbs are only going to change in the third person. Okay, so that's going to be the él, ella, usted form, ellos, ellas, and ustedes. So third person singular and third person plural are going to have the stem changes. Now, the stem changes are different in the preterite tense than what happens in the present tense. In the present tense, we have verbs that change E to IE, E to I, O to UE, and U to UE. In the preterite, the only change that happens is that E is going to change to an I, so pedir, preferir, things like that will be E to I, and O is changing just to U, so dormir and morir, even though in the present it's UE, in the preterite we're only going to change the O to a U, and only in the third person. So these verbs, even though they have a stem change, they're still regular. So we're not going to be worried about different endings. So pedir, the yo form is pedí. I asked for or I ordered. The tu form is pediste. Usted, él, ella, so this is third person, so we have to have the stem change. The E changes to an I. Pidió. Okay, that O is going to have the accent mark. Nosotros pedimos. Vosotros pedisteis. And then ustedes, ellos, ellas, since it's third person, we'll have the stem change. Pidieron. For morir, to die, the yo form is mori. The tu form is moriste. Usted, él, ella has the stem change. Murió. Nosotros does not change, morimos. Vosotros moristeis. And then ustedes, ellos, ellas will have the stem change, murieron. Now we're going to talk about verbs with irregular stems. So these verbs you need to just memorize. You need to memorize which verbs have this change. And remember that these changes occur in every single form. So él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes, every single one of them, you're going to change the stem to something new. Okay? They all have the same endings. So no matter what, if it's an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb, you're going to use the same endings. None of them have accent marks. For yo, it will always end in an A. Tu, iste, usted, él, ella, O, nosotros, imos, vosotros, isteis, and ustedes, ellos, ellas, ieron. Okay, so no matter what, every single verb that you see below will have these endings, no accents. Okay, and then here are your three categories. There's the U stem, the I stem, and the J stem. So andar, which means to walk, the new stem is anduv. For a star, we have estuv. For poder, we have pud. For poner, pus. Saber, soup. And remember that saber in the preterite tense means to find out. Tener is tuv. Okay, so you have your U stems. All of the stems have a U in them. Your I stems, we have aser, and the stem is is, But remember, in the third person singular, so él, ella, usted, the stem is is. So we have hizo, él hizo with a Z. Querer is quis. And venir is been. Those are your I stems. Now, the J stems are going to be anything that ends in U, C, I, R. So conducir is conduc. Decir, we have the D-I-J. Traducir is traduc. And then traer is tra. Now, something important to remember about the J stems is that third person plural, ellos, ellas, ustedes, instead of ieron being the ending, we're going to just have E-R-O-N. So, dijeron, they said, trajeron, they brought. The irregular verbs, none of these have accent marks. Okay, ser and ir, to be and to go, they have the same endings. Yo fui, same conjugations, I'm sorry. Yo fui, tú fuiste, usted, él, ella, fue, nosotros fuimos, vosotros fuisteis, ustedes, ellos, ellas, fueron. Now, dar is going to have the same endings as ver, and none of them have accents. We have di, diste, dio, dimos, disteis, and dieron. For ver, the endings are actually the same as the normal endings, we just don't have accents. So bi, biste, bio, vimos, visteis, and vieron. Now, our last little piece is the verb haber. In the present tense, we have I, there is or there are. In the preterite tense, we have hubo, there was or there were. Okay, so if you have any questions, please remember to bring them up on Friday during class.